This is KOCO-TV Channel 5, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It's 5 o'clock and it's time now for the
2 to 4 inches on the
Hickox-Halbrunt report for this Wednesday, February 4th, 1970. Good evening, I'm Richard Hickox. I'm Joel Halbrunt, and here's what's happening. At 5 o'clock here, more than 16,000 overflowed the State Fair Arena Tuesday night here. Evangelist Billy Graham during inauguration services for the Agency for Christian Cooperative Ministry in Oklahoma City. Audio equipment
that could exceed a foot of snow.
Like in a nearby building to the arena were necessary to accommodate the overflow. The arena reached standard room only proportions at least 30 minutes before services began. Many came more than an hour early to secure seats. During services, Dr. Graham warned the people to watch the Middle East. The Middle East is where history began, and that is where it will be concluded, he said, referring to the second coming of Christ. Citing the many technologies and developments over recent years and the many changes, Graham said that the most profound of all has been religion. We only have something that happens, and then in the midst of it all, to the voice of God, he said. Graham noted a change in today's youth and that they are responding to the gospel. Young people are crying out in alienation and frustration, wanting to know what the purpose and meaning of life.
It actually bounces a little bit.
Graham said the answer, he said, is Christ. Among all the changes, Graham said the gospel of Christ remains the same. The kingdom of God is going to come, and those who know Christ will reign with him, Graham said. You must represent and believe, confess Christ, and you must obey, Graham said. As Graham called for people to dedicate their life to Christ during the end of the season, worshippers moved from all over the arena and crowded the area in front of the podium, and it was announced during the services that Graham had postponed an engagement in New York to order to preach the AFCOM inauguration services on Tuesday night. Graham last appeared in Oklahoma City about 14 years ago. Cliff Baker, minister of music at the First Baptist Church at Oklahoma City, recruited and diverted a choir of more than 1,100 for the service. The brass choir from the Bethany Nazarene College also provided music.
It's going to be about 10% colder than last year. So all of you.
The state used the Uniform Consumer Credit Code for the first time Tuesday, challenging a Dent Studios $10,000 contract for lessons for a 70-year-old widow who earns $180 a month. The action was brought into the district court by Richard Wheatley Jr., who has been administrator of the Consumer Affairs since the new trip in London code became effective in Oklahoma last July. John C. Howard, an assistant attorney general who filed the suit, said that this was the first time that the code has been used in a court case since it was adopted last year. The lawsuit names Oklahoma
Many homeowners are paying
Burnett Incorporated, James Edwards and James Fortune, a Town and Country Dance Studio, and Club in Oklahoma City and Educational Credit Bureau Incorporated. Howard alleged that the franchise of the dance studio was issued by Oklahoma Burnett Incorporated to Edwards. During the early part of December, the petition alleges Mrs. Ver DeMille, a widow, entered into 3 contracts worth $10,775 for the dance lessons. The first contract on December 2nd was filed.
So one other suggestion.
$78 for 30 hours of private dance instruction, and the petition alleges. The second contract on December 9th was for $1,425 for 57 hours of individual instruction and dancing, including beginner, special, and full. General variety lessons, the petition states. On December 12th, Mrs. DeMille entered in a contract.
8 a.m. tomorrow, Storm Team 5's Harvey Leonard, Cindy Fitzgibbon, the entire eye-opener team will be
Black community leaders.
coverage of the storm. And remember, you can also get up to the...
Joined by the 3 Negro House members Tuesday in luncheon outed at Senator E. Melvin Porter for his refusal to support a House-passed fair housing measure. Porter, the only black member of the state Senate, responded angrily that he has no intention of changing his position and challenges critics to follow through on their effort to remove him from the Senate. Dr. A.L. Dowell, Oklahoma City Councilman, and Calvin Looper, local and NAACP leader, appeared in the news conference with Representatives Archibald Hill, Hannah Atkins, and Ben Hill of Tulsa, all of whom are voiced anger and disappointment at Porter while the white membership of the Senate. All of them are Democrats. Archibald Hill said Porter has let us down. He has let us people down. Hill called on Porter, as he didn't last weekend, either to support the fair housing bill or resign from the Senate.
Negotiators continue talking with the men. Everything at Roger Williams is going on.
Talking with a newsman a few minutes later, Porter said he planned to drop out of the Senate when his term ends and concentrate on his law practice. However, he said Hill's repeated demands that he followed the wishes of Black House members that would get out of had made him decide to seek re-election this year. Cannon and his critics have said that it may attempt to oust him from his legislation for his position in the fair housing law. I think they ought to do what they said that they were going to do, Porter demanded. In New York, David M. Kennedy, Secretary of the Treasury, said here Tuesday that a break in the nation's inflationary psychology and resultant drop in the interest rates may be closer in hand than most people realize. Speaking at a luncheon that officially began the annual payroll savings draft in the United States savings bonds in the New York City area, Kennedy told an audience of leading bankers, industrialists, and officials and government personnel that we are clearly beginning to make headway toward the president's objective of curbing inflation. His remarks caused no extraordinary stir in the blue chip business against the stock market. However, he touched off the sharpest rally of the year. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, a closely watched market indicator, was showing a decline of 3.37 points at the 1:30 p.m. reading a few minutes before the news tickers carried the professor reported a Kennedy speech at the New York Hilton. The report at 2 p.m. reading showed an advance of 10.89 points in a session of a remarkable gain of less than 3 minutes of about 14 points at 3 p.m. is now closed at 7:57.46, up 11:02 for the day. The news reports that electrified the market were based on a passage from Kennedy's address in which he said, once the inflationary psychology is broken, the business community and the Republican journal begins to look forward and greater stimuli in the interest rates will drop and a more reasonable level and our salary effects will be felt throughout the economy because of the progress we're making. That happening today may be closer than the hand that most people realize.
He then went to a vehicle, produced a firearm, returned to the bar.
O.A. Cargill III, grandson of former Oklahoma City Mayor O.A. Cargill, died Tuesday at Baptist Memorial Hospital of complications suffered from a gunshot wound he received in a hunting accident December 26, west of Kearney. Cargill and his father, O.A. Buck Cargill of Oklahoma City attorney, were hunting rabbits on the Sun's Bench 5.5 miles west of Kearney when the accident occurred. The son, 33, was rushed to Baptist Memorial Hospital in Oklahoma City where he underwent surgery for removal of a 22 caliber bullet lodged in his abdominal area. His condition worsened and required initial surgery after an initial operation the day of his accident. Younger Cargill, a rancher, auctioneer, and trucker, required more than 80 pints of blood while hospitalized. Cargill was graduated from Classen High School in Oklahoma City.
Starter was on duty. The woman told officers he threatened to harm her, her children, and her family.
Presiding District Judge Clarence Mills may have to disqualify himself if a certain Oklahoma City thief ever appears before the bench. Police said Tuesday that the judge, 73-year-old,
what occurred because the investigation is still on.
Judge's car was burglarized while parked near his home at 125 Northwest 15 and that a 22 caliber rifle weapon stolen from the official sedan.
Sharda is on paid administrative leave. His lawyer calls the charge.
Washington liberals fighting for electoral reform temporarily delayed Tuesday on a voice vote on it. Confirmation of Judge G. Harold Caldwell for the Supreme Court. Led by Senator Burt Baya, a Democrat of Indiana, they blocked an immediate vote in the Senate Judiciary Committee on by insisting an action on a proposed direct popular election on president. As a result, the committee broke up until a date be scheduled later without moving in either Congress or the proposal along. Being denied delegation by Senator Strom Furman, Republican of South Carolina, that he was holding up the nomination in a cabinet to promote the passed constitutional amendment, but was its effect nonetheless. Senator Marlo Cook, Republican in Kentucky, said in leaving a closed session, we hardly talked about Caldwell at all. Today's two witnesses did. Clarence Mitchell, director of the Washington Business Bureau of the National Association of Advancement of Colored People, called the 50-year-old judge an advocate of racial segregation. White being silent relief when Negroes go into the court instead of into the streets, said Negro. Mitchell was a Negro, but we then confronted them with the judges who had decided to deny them relief ever before they entered the courthouse door. Judge L. Rauber Kyle, chairman of the Leadership Conference on the Civil Rights, detailed 15 decisions in which he said,
Bill Gibbons, who was sued 4 months ago and left the program, but he's
Washington, the Supreme Court arrested and refused Tuesday to prevent the arrest of Frank Sinatra for declining to enter a subpoena from the New Jersey State Commission of Investigation. The subpoena was served on Sinatra more than 7 months ago. Although they limited appear before the commission to answer questions about organized crime, he has refused to respond to the subpoena, saying that it was legal and that the State Commission was unconstitutional created. In Trenton, New Jersey, officials of the State Commission said that it will still not extradite Sinatra from any other state. The court reached its decision by a vote of 4-3, and Justice William J. Brennan excluded him from consideration in the plea. While the justice gave no reason for doing this, the son, William J. Brennan III, is a former New Jersey state investigator who said that
is over. WHO returns to Boston.
Oklahomans will vote on March 17th on whether to call Constitutional Convention. The Senate, by a 40-0 vote Tuesday, completed legislation action on H.A.R. 1004 and sent it to the Secretary of State. It calls for the special election on March 17th, and the question is approved by the voters. The legislature would be as far as the call. The convention. The legislature would set the date for any such convention and would set rules by legislative act. The convention would be authorized to propose alteration provisions of amendments to the Constitution and propose a new Constitution in the state of Oklahoma. The Constitution requires that the legislature submit the question to the vote of the people at least once every 20 years. Senator Phil Smalley, Democrat of Norman, said that the last election on the question was held in 1950. Senator Clem McSpadden, Democrat of Chelsea, urged adoption of the resolution. He said many people have no common except for the dynamic graph of Oklahoma. We have just lived in a jet age with a horse and a buggy constitution, he said.
Frank Webb Stat Center at frankwebb.com.
Senator Gene Stopp, Democrat of McAllister, contended that Oklahoma's constitution is just as modern as a modern newspaper. He said in other states that have a constitutional convention that people have rejected work in a convention as more relevant majority. He said that if there was anything wrong with the Oklahoma Constitution, it can be amended without the cost of holding a constitutional convention. Smalley appealed for the legislature to elect that people determine if Oklahoma would have a convention. He said that the Constitutional Revision Committee, which was held 30 interim meetings, was agreed that many areas of the Constitution need modernization. In Washington, Senate critics of President Nixon's Vietnam policy are accused of administration Tuesday of creating a national euphoria about the war, but Vice President Sparity Agnew said that they were just casting it about aimlessly for an issue. The Senate for a new assault on the U.S. war policy was a familiar one. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which opened 3 days of public hearings on a series of resolutions proposing a new U.S. purchase. Senator Harold Lee Hughes, Democrat of Iowa, said he was concerned not only about the national euphoria, but about the way it was created. The first few pistol whipped the news media then. Your commander, for political purposes, however, said. Agnew's retort, I think that some of the opposition party people have dropped all their eggs in one basket and one attempted to discredit. The United States objectors in Vietnam have found such a little bit of public support that now they are casting about aimlessly for some way to try and turn the gun back on an administration. Senator J.W. Fulbright, Democrat of Arkansas, said he was puzzled by statements that the war was no longer a political issue. Fulbright, the committee chairman, said he hoped the hearings would help determine whether the Nixon policy of turning combat over to Vietnam his troops are more promising than a renowned effort in the negotiated compromise settlement in the Paris talks. The people with its president on this, Agnew told newsmen after a briefing Republican senators on his Asian tour. And no matter himself, serving as statements by opposition senators are going to change that. Agnew said it's going to take a while for South Vietnam to read its forces to take over all ground combat duties. I think we are in the right course and the people stick with the president and we will be out there here. The hearings on the first since the demonstration of counterattack in the wake of the last fall's anti-war protests have brought in high.
Parents, they're wonderful people. It's a lot of people.
Far-reaching junior college plans is presented in the state regents. House bill that would have been provided for juvenile offenses in countries. Special board to be named investigative complaints of Lawton police brutality. Onboard ex-convict express in Kansas City charged with samples of kidnapping a trooper. In national news, courtroom scuffle delays bomb plot hearing for 13 Black Panthers in New York. U.S. spending cutbacks, slow progress bringing spotty worker layoffs across the country. Two largest unions on strike against GE and announced ratification of the Pacific Company and Red Rocket said being Air Base Nova Saigon on no GI casualties are reported.
He was not alive. Tonight, he's in the hospital.
Bill on will have the sports. Ross Dixon will have whatever after. That's commercial break here on Hickox-Halbrunt Report. Stay tuned.
Well, that's a good sign. That means you're doing okay. Trust me when I tell you, Harvey and Mike.
Guaranteed brake reline. Guaranteeing 24,000 miles or 2 years. We guarantee when your brake line and we install your car for the specified number of miles. Wherever it comes with a judgment prohibited on a mileage and based on current selling prices at time of adjustment. Winning guarantees issued at time of installation. A brake reline offer features all 4 winds inspect brake, dams and cylinders.
Live every newscast.
Clean and lubricate back and plate. Repack front wheel bearings. Adjust brakes. Restore fluid and word test to your assembly. We owns only top quality Wagner brake lines with 31,000 miles for 3 years. Just $31. Now $24. Whitewall General Jet tires at $69.5. Delta energized batteries will turn you on. Let you check in one today. Free battery inspection. Test cells, inspect cab. Clean post and inspect cabs at the General Tire Service at 401 Northwest 10th in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Phone 236-4406. Open 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Monday, Friday, 7:30 to 2 p.m. on Saturday. General Tire.
at mahomeshows.com or come on down on Friday for free admission.
Attention New England, there's nothing bigger than the Toyota Washington.
America's #1 sportsman, get about, get it, the Flying Fisherman's first full-length outdoor spectacles, Fishing USA.
It's included. This wicked big event ends February 17th. Toyota, let's go places. This portion of New Center 5.
Exclusive first one starts Wednesday. No seats required at Continental.
No doubt about it.
8:16 fabulous Harlem Globetrotters versus New Jersey Reds basketball's #1 show. Sunday, February 15th at 2 p.m. at the State Fairgrounds Arena. Tickets on sale at the Fulton Ticket Agency at the Civic Center Music Hall. Regular seats are $5, $4, $3. General admission $2. Okay, Bill Allen with the weather, and this Bill Allen and the sports is brought to you by General Tire. Okay, now Bill Allen. Good evening, everybody, sports fans, and now the sports.
By their schools as leaders in service.
In New York, a former associate justice of the Supreme Court, Representative outfielder Kurt Flood, in a suit against baseball, like in a train to the baseball player Tuesday in a high-priced slave. Flood decided he cannot play under an illegal system. An angry added for Jay Goldberg, who was represented in a $90,000 year store. He is not willing to be sold into a servitude. That statement was made at a 2-year hearing before U.S. District Court Judge Irvin Ben Cooper considered a request by Flood that baseball union joined from preventing him as acting as a free agent. Flood has contested a move with the St. Louis Cardinals and traded him to the Philadelphia Phillies. He claims baseball's reserve clause, which binds the player to one team until he's traded, sold, or released, amounts to peonage. Judge Cooper listened to the arguments and then gave lawyers of both the sides 20 days to file additional papers. The attorneys representing baseball, Mark F. Hughes for the Major Leagues and Paul Porter for the Baseball Commission, and denied this was any violation of antitrust laws. There's an old charge against these defendants, having said it's been made many times before. He insisted that an injunction were granted and the results being grave to the point of almost being catastrophic. The issue in baseball's reserve clause test has gone to the Supreme Court before in an ancient time upheld on the ground that baseball was a sport and not interstate commerce. Goldberg denied the laws through the design to cripple and harass the baseball. We have a great body of it, law and protecting and the freedom of labor, said the former justice who later served as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. You cannot restrain a man from his calling. Goldberg said in the present time that there is no bargaining on the subject to the reserve clause and that the respect baseball differs from other sports. Football operates under antitrust laws and seems to be doing pretty well, he added. Judge Cooper in the closing session, of course, stood by the Supreme Court opinion of several years ago in Lau. Judging impulsively said, well, somebody sees him. That I should do, he added. You're shunting the ball to me. I hope I don't muff it.
It's setting the stage, and we have a winter storm warning, and if that goes into effect later tonight, it lasts until
Oklahoma has landed one of the 1970s juiciest junior golf clubs. The second annual American Pro Youth Classic will be held at the Twin Hills Country Club on August 14, 15, 17, 18 with 20 of the nation's at 7 professionals participating along with 60 of the country's top junior players. Professional purse for the event will total about $50,000 with an individual low pro picking up a check for at least $12,000. The event will be held in conjunction with a 52nd annual PGA Championship at Seven Hills in Tulsa, August 13th to 16th. Announcement of the event will be sponsored by the National Association of Insurance Agents and was made Tuesday by Jim R. Cole, President-elect of the Oklahoma City chapter of the AIA, and Thornton Wright Jr. Twin Hills President of the tournament will have a field of at least 145 juniors and families. 45 states playing qualifying rounds August 14th, 15th. Evidence 36-hole test. The field will be cut to the low 60 juniors for the final rounds August 17th, 18th for professionals. 3 juniors will be played with each professional, but to avoid complications on scholastic and future and collegiate eligibility that will play as teams, while the professional will then be participating for cash money on this watch.
It's going to be after a big burst of snow anyway, so a lot of the precipitation will have already fallen as snow.
In Boston, Bill Sullivan, president of Boston Patriots, Oklahoma, said Tuesday night that he is being bombarded with phone calls from governors, mayors, and others seeking pro football franchises. And that's funny, yeah, we receive calls from governors in several states and several mayors asking them to sit down and talk with them. Sullivan told the Associated Press we also been contacted by Canadian cities seeking the Patriots. Toronto and Montreal, he added. Frankly, their initial proposals are quite attractive. Sullivan has been bombarded since Harvard's corporation reaffirmed Monday an early decision against leasing the University Stadium to use for the Patriots for its home games. Sullivan said that he had agreed to meet with Governor Claude Kirk of Florida Wednesday. Sullivan said he had told the governor to call me when he gets into Boston.
May get as far as southern Worcester County and just south of Boston in the.
Sullivan also said he had agreed to meet sometime Thursday, probably with New Hampshire, with Governor Walter Peterson of that state. Peterson wants to talk about the possible building a suitable stadium in southern New Hampshire within an hour's drive south of Boston.
4 inches, as you can see.
Sullivan said he also obtained and received calls from persons in Seattle, Tampa, from Jacksonville in Florida, Memphis, Birmingham, and from Happy Chandlerism, Zena Group in Kentucky.
12 inches.
U.S. figure skating champion begin in Tulsa.
Out the storm.
You know, Harvey, as we always talk about, it's not necessarily how much snow you get, but when you get...
Chicago, no fewer than 17 pro football clubs offer the Pittsburgh Steelers prize package deals for the prize #1 draftee. Quarterback Terry Bradshaw says they keep on defensive coach of the Chicago Bears. Baltimore offered to have a team for the kid, and he's still less 2 years away. Gibran told the Benign Brief Sports Cabinet Tuesday night. The Colt offered to Louisiana Tech Harold Bradshaw. Gibran said, including names of Bubba Smith, John Mackey, and Gloucester Richardson. Not reserves Gibran never appeared of spare pro quarterbacks because there are 26 teams in each carrying the three. Indicating the Bears may have a faint chance of dealing with a veteran signal caller. Says contacting Virgil Carter and Jack Cannon have been ranked by Bobby Douglas, #2 Bear drafted choice last week. And last year, described by Gibran as the greatest forward to come up in a year. Still green, but with great raw talent.
Snow as this whole thing winds up and heads out to sea. Harvey?
All right, thank you, Mike.
Baltimore, John Unitas, named Tuesday as a football athlete decade sets candidates that the quality of Portsmouth Village football declined during the 60s.
Quiet day.
7 unusual calm reserve for the news of the overwhelming victory in a special poll conducted by Associated Press that the Baltimore Colts quarterback was far from restrained with the commented on the new breed of players. Football players today should be better because of their physical attributes and improved coaching. United said, but they're not. Few young players coming into the game now have the proper attitude and desire. When it comes to the dedication and self-sacrifice, forget it. A lot of young players, United said, seem to have more on the minds than what they are being paid for. They don't want to spend any time and effort to improve. The majority seem satisfied just to make the team. United's contaminant formation in the American Football League and expansion in the National Football League had all said, contributing and saturation and American players of lesser ability who wouldn't have been signed previously, but he feels that it would be now be an improvement in the caliber of pro ball depending on part of the individual initiative shown by the new generation of players. Now 36 and one of them. Few players from the old school still wearing high top football shoes. United is ready to negotiate a new contract playing the past 3 seasons for about $125,000 a year. United received 233 votes from sports writers and sportscasters asking to be picked football's outstanding performer for the 1960s. Quarterback Bart Starr of the Green Bay Packers was distant second with 124.5 votes. Jim Brown, the retired Cleveland Browns football, was third at 105, followed by the New York Jets quarterback Joe Namath with 71.
They didn't make it here last year because of the abbreviated schedule due to...
Worcester, Massachusetts, Holy Cross, which had its 1969 football season wiped out after 2 games because of infectious hepatitis outbreak, and on Tuesday will be holding spring practice at first year since 1971 for the first time. Since 1951, athletic director Vince Doherty announced that the Crusaders had added 11th game for 1970 campaign opening against Army September 12th at West Point. Doherty emphasized that the schedule of spring practice in the 11th game recently approved by the NCAA was for 1 year only. Spring drills will be held for about 10 days in early June after final classroom exams.
The urgency of winning wins the day in the lineup more than...
John Nelson, 6'6", starting on the University basketball team of Oklahoma City, will be in hospital about 6 days because of an injury suffered in Monday night game with New Orleans Loyola. Nelson was hit in the eye by a player's hand and suffered a scratched cornea and a blood clot. He said he has an 80% chance of recovery without complications. Nelson will miss OCU's road trip to Seattle Thursday, Denver Saturday, and Hardin Simmons on Tuesday. The road games will be broadcast by KTOK Radio 1000 at 10 p.m. on Thursday, 9 p.m. Saturday, and 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Tommy Stremme, 185-pound, all-state split end from Tulsa, Hale Woods, said Monday he had signed a letter of intent with Oklahoma State. Stremme caught 6-5 passes, 193 yards, 68 points last season. National Open champion Orville Moody has entered the Texas Open February 1922 at San Antonio. Football and basketball officials the Central Officials Association will meet at 7:30 p.m. Wednesday in the auditorium of the First National Bank. Members and prospective members will hold rules of discussion. Right now, the defensive back from National Championship Northeastern Union has thrilled to bring young where he become the first Negro athlete at the Mormon school since the 1950s. Frank Scheib has been resigned as football coach at Woodward to become assistant high school principal. That's sports.
Gibbons received incredible support.
Ross Dixon and weather after this commercial break.
As well, just last week, he received a personalized letter from Bob Cousy expressing...
You just got a good seat at the theater in Brandon, Chicago. Who do you call?
The alums have come to support me, and the community of Worcester has come to support me.
It's been a roller.
Barnes Ticket AG versus Joe Cigar Stand.
Is that I've never been on a closer team. Like the camaraderie is unbelievable. And I think that's the most.
This year,
Mike Dowling, Sports Center.
5 Jets
To Coach Gibbons.
with the Brandon team go to town every day to Chicago.
Tweak the weather, and we'll get you that in just a second.
And coming up new on News at 5 at 11, using carbon monoxide to treat cancer. What? The light's leaving new use for one of winter's deadliest hazards. It's tonight at 11 after Killer Women.
Okay, now in the weather now with Ross Dixon. It's brought to you by Brennett International Airlines here.
Transfer money.
Good evening, everybody. Well, right now, here.
Lots of time and money.
5 p.m. reports on this February 4th, 1970. 51 in Oklahoma City and in Norman and Chickasaw. 53 all around the eastern Oklahoma, Ardmore, down to Durant, and down to Hugo, Search on 80, down to McAllister, and down to Okmulgee and Muskogee and Stillwater and Tulsa and Ponca City and Brattlesville and Enid. And also 53 goals in Woodward. 63 out in Clinton and Elk City and Altus and Lawton and out in Duncan and Wichita Falls. 65 in Lubbock and 52 in Amarillo. And a warm front from northeastern Texas up and in the western Oklahoma panhandle there.
Do the math.
Attention New England, there's nothing bigger than the Toyota Washington's Birthday Sales Event. Get this.
One Nation today. Snow flurries fell for much of the New England, stretching down to eastern Great Lakes, down to New York, Pennsylvania, down to the Mid-Atlantic region there. Rain showers down in southern Florida. High pressure in Mississippi and cold. It was cold for much of the northern Rockies and the northwest, and mild conditions are in the southern plain states. It was very cold from New England and New York State to Alabama and Florida. Wednesday, the cold will be moderate in fact in the nation.
Do you ask yourself?
But temperatures were lower in Wyoming and Colorado North.
Slinking through your own life.
Cold weather expected in East Oregon. Sunny skies were widespread. There were some light snow or snowflakes from the Dakotas and the northern Appalachians and northern Maine. Snow occurred only parts of the northern central Rockies, and there was a chance of showers in northern Idaho and West Washington. Projected map positions for Wednesday: a low will be off the New England coast, a high will be centered over northern Alabama,
Stop by.
a low will be centered in southern Manitoba,
Okay, 6 more visits.
and a warm front to Oklahoma and a cold front across northwestern Colorado and central California.
4.5.
So our forecast for central Oklahoma, including Oklahoma City.
Let's try something new.
Fair to Park tonight and high tonight. 26 to 32 degrees. Southeast Oklahoma. Fair to Park a little warmer tonight. Low tonight, 23 to 32 degrees for Southeast Oklahoma. Southwest Oklahoma, fair and Park tonight. Low 26 to 32. Northeast Oklahoma, fair and a little warmer tonight with Park with a low around 24 to 30 degrees. Northwest Oklahoma, fair to Park tonight. Lower you up. 20 to 26 degrees for Oklahoma Panhandle will be fair. To Pawtucket, not quite so cold. Tonight would lower about 20-25 degrees.
Hike in 6 to 9 below, but even if that verifies, the 6 to 9 would be just as impactful.
And sun will set about 5:29 p.m. in about 3 minutes from now. And that is
The Lynch Gym dedication postponed till next Tuesday.
That's late, sir.
okay. Sunrise sunset data set 6:01 p.m. Civil twilight begins 7:01 a.m. and ends about 6:28 p.m. And moon data phase lasts 7:42 a.m. Thursday.
I know how important it is to
Sunrise about 7:42 a.m. and sets about 5:29 p.m. and that's weather. And that is gonna be the Hickox-Halbrunt report on this February 4th, 1970 on a Wednesday. I'm Richard Hickox alongside Joel Halbrunt, and we have a good evening coming the next on Channel 5 will be
Especially children are in urgent need of a coach.
the ABC Evening News. We'll be back at 10 o'clock. Have a good evening.
By donating your gently worn coat or